Hello all, this is Paul Antico, founder and CEO of AllergyEats, the largest guide to dining out with food allergies in America. Today, I'm here to give you what we believe is an important public service announcement for the parents of food allergic school-aged children. Today, AllergyEats is recommending that these parents procure their supply of back-to-school epinephrine autoinjectors now, rather than waiting until August. Why are we making this recommendation? Well, we all know by now that there is a supply constraint, a shortage, of epinephrine autoinjectors not only in the US market, but around the world. And while the main manufacturers have been making strides in improving supply week over week, we actually believe that the supply problem could exacerbate in August rather than improve. Now let me stress that we could be wrong. The major manufacturers have given us no reason to believe we'll be wrong, and we'll point out the evidence as to why we think we're right, but we could be wrong. However, I would rather be wrong and recommend that you all procure your autoinjectors a month early than be right and not give warning at all. So, what is the evidence to back up our claim? Well, first of all, as you can imagine, the back-to-school season is a particularly busy time for epinephrine autoinjector prescriptions. In fact, the third quarter of each year, July through September, sees 40% of the full year's epinephrine prescriptions filled. Our estimate is that roughly 20% of the year's prescriptions are filled in August, 1/5 of the year occurring in 1 month. That will still be a significant jump over July, therefore creating a demand problem to go along with the current supply problem. We do know that currently, while some people are able to get autoinjectors immediately from their pharmacies, many people are having to wait between a few days and a few weeks to get their autoinjectors. We know that the supply issues are still challenging. The major manufacturers are telling us that. Most importantly, we are not receiving any positive news from the major manufacturers, including Mylan and Pfizer, who manufactures product for both Mylan's EpiPen and CVS's generic Adrenaclick product. We're not receiving any positive news that would suggest to us that the problem will be resolved. And we believe that if the problem was going to be resolved in the next 2 weeks for the August rush, we would know by now. In fact, since product has to be shipped to wholesalers and distributors well in advance of that product reaching the pharmacy shelves, we believe that the manufacturers would know by now that the problems would be resolved. And yet, Mylan, Pfizer, the FDA, and others can't give us comfort. In fact, Mylan and Pfizer have both recommended that their most recent public statements are still the most accurate comments that they can give. Pfizer's most recent public statement suggested that those with unexpired epinephrine consider not refilling their supply so that Pfizer can supply those that do have expired epinephrine. In other words, hold back as long as you can. We still have to help those who need epinephrine, and we can't supply everyone right now. I did ask Mylan if they could provide me with any comfort that I was wrong in my assumption that August could be a problem, and they couldn't. One of the other major manufacturers without current supply problems, Kaleo, who manufactures the Alvecue product, is a smaller player, and yet they too are making changes to try to help the community in case of a significant supply problem. Where they usually offer 3 boxes to a person who submits a script, they have currently pulled that back to 2 boxes per year per individual. And that's because they don't know how significant the problem is going to be. So again, if a resolution were near, it is my opinion, it is AllergyEats' opinion, that we would know by now. Instead, we're still being given warnings and comments that the supply issue is getting a little better. Meanwhile, Canada, who was told in mid-February that they would have a 2-week shortage, did not see a resolution at the beginning of March and is still seeing supply problems. Australia is seeing significant supply problems. The UK has an allocation for the pharmacies. Pharmacies are on allocation, And some prescriptions are being filled with October expiration dates just so they could get some supply on the market. So what do we do right now? Well, first of all, my recommendation is that those who can get a prescription, go to your pharmacy now. If your preferred autoinjector is an EpiPen or the generic Adrenaclick, get to your pharmacy as soon as you can, because even if you have to wait 2 weeks or 3 weeks, you'll still have that product in time to get it to the schools before the school year starts. Many other people are getting this AllergyEats prescription form. You can get it at allergyqt.com, where you can help AllergyEats and click on the link on the right side of the page. And this form allows you to get the AllergyEats product, in most cases, at zero cost. I will say that I have filled prescriptions with AllergyEats in the past few weeks, and the product comes within just a few days of this form being submitted to my doctor and they sending it over to Kaleo. What should you do if you can't get supply? Should you supply your school with dated epinephrine autoinjectors? Well, from a survey AllergyEats did, it sounds like many schools will accept unexpired autoinjectors even if they expire during the school year. Not all schools will do that. Some will require you to have autoinjectors that expire next June or later. But if you can't get supply and your school will allow it, clearly you should be bringing your December dated, January dated, February dated autoinjectors to the school and procuring supply to replace those when possible. Should school nurses be told that they should be acquiring syringes and vials of autoinjectors? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. But what I do know is we need to be prepared. Now, Mylan is still saying and still recommending that anyone having problems finding EpiPens or the generic EpiPens should call their customer service number at 1-800-796-9526. Again, that's a great step to help people, and I hope everyone is able to get the autoinjectors they require. However, in the short term, we think it is prudent for everyone to go out and fill your prescriptions for autoinjectors now rather than waiting till August. We'd rather people, again, be conservative and early than not be able to receive their back-to-school autoinjectors in time for the first day of school at all. Thank you very much for listening to this. I really hope I'm wrong in this recommendation, and we'll keep you updated with anything new that we learn going forward.